Hi, this is Scott with the Sawtooth Avalanche Center with your weekend update for March 10th. And just a general reminder, this is not meant to replace the daily avalanche forecast, so please check the forecast each morning at 7 a.m. So I'll take a quick look at the past, present, and future, what's happened, what's happening, and what's going to happen. So brief recap, this past week, it snowed a bunch or a lot. We had a steady trickle of very low density snowfall in most of the zones in the forecast area. A lot of them were favoring the southern mountains this week. And then as many of you are aware or well aware, on Friday, we had a significant storm, a little bit warmer as well. So the past week's danger levels, it was a steady considerable throughout all of the zones with the exception of Banner. It got down to moderate in the Banner Summit zone, and then today spiked up to extreme. So the reason it was considerable for the past week, we have a persistent slab problem where the facets and crust facets that formed in February have been just slowly getting a load on them. And as that slab is formed, it got to the point where we were starting to see some avalanches. And with persistent slabs, a couple key features that they can be remotely triggered. This is a good example of a remotely triggered avalanche in the Western Smokies that some snowmobilers were down on the slope below it and triggered that avalanche. It's over 1,000 feet wide. And also, persistent slabs can kind of break in strange places. They can pull up into gentler terrain up above the crown. They can go, up above the steeper slope. So the crown will form up in gentler slope angles, things that aren't 35 degrees or steeper. And then you get down lower on the slope, and there is a steep slope below this crown. But they can do some interesting things and catch people off guard for sure. And this one was remotely triggered by a skier in the Lake Creek drainage outside of Ketchum. So the present danger ratings today on Friday, we had extreme danger with avalanche warnings in the Soldier Wood River Valley and Galena Summit Eastern Mountain Zone, and avalanche warnings as well with widespread high danger in the Sawtooth, Western Smokies, and Banner Summit areas. Here's an example of, or not an example, a video just showing what was going on out Croy Canyon. Gives you a good idea of the extent of avalanching that we had. This is all natural activity. It was quite impressive. You don't see that widespread of avalanche activity very often. One of the more remarkable shows that I've seen in a long time, that any of us have seen in a long time. This is out Muldoon Canyon outside of Bellevue. So kind of a similar thing going on there where just all these steep slopes, anything that was avalanche terrain was sliding, was naturally releasing. And these are persistent slab avalanches. They're failing on those layers of faceted snow or crust and facets that formed in February, generally speaking. This is down on the Bigwood River outside of Haley, or on the west side of Haley. There were several avalanches that came down and put anywhere from 5 to, it sounds like from reports, up to 30 feet of debris across the river, spanning the river. And it did impact some houses on the other side, on the east side of the river. They came off of both Bella and Carbonate Mountains. This is in the Warm Springs drainage. And this photo is also in the Warm Springs drainage, more natural avalanche activity, for the most part, persistent slab avalanches. This is on Highway 75 in the Lake Creek, Hewlin Meadows area. And the slide came down. It's a west-facing slope, which was a little bit unusual from what we've been seeing lately, but came down and blocked the road for about 300 or 400 feet, and they had to get some loaders in there to clear it out before the plow could punch a hole through the road. And that person is standing on the road there. And this is also up Warm Springs drainage up above Penny Lake. And just looking at these crowns, you don't really get a sense for what it would be like to be in one of these avalanches. So yes, they look impressive, the crowns do, but the next one here, we have a video of the avalanche that's pictured here while it was running. play that. And it really gives you a sense for the power. Just envision if you were in that. It's one thing to look at crowns, but picture if you're in that. It's makes me kind of shudder thinking about it. I don't like the idea. So what are we looking at this weekend? We usually don't say what the danger ratings are going to be specifically going into the weekend in these weekend updates, but after some consultation with the rest of the forecasting crew, it's highly likely that the avalanche warning will be continued on Saturday for some or most of the zone. So expect to see some high avalanche danger out there tomorrow. And in a nutshell, it's scary out there. I think you need to assume that you can trigger avalanches on many, if not most, of the steep slopes that have not already avalanched. We won't see the natural avalanche activity that we saw today, but there's a really good chance that you can trigger avalanches on steep slopes in avalanche terrain, either on or below, which is the next point. That remote triggering is definitely on the table. So be aware that you can trigger these slides, these large destructive avalanches from flatter terrain below the steep slopes or from above them in flatter terrain and also to the sides. So beware out there, give yourself a little bit of extra safety margin. And really the best thing that we can say is stay out of the way unless you have a really high risk tolerance. Tomorrow's going to be a great day to be, if you're a sledder, be out brapping around in the meadows, having fun playing in the powder. If you're a skier, find some slopes that are still under 30 degrees that and don't have anything above you that's 30 degrees, where you just can take any chance of avalanches out of the equation. That's the easiest way to manage the problem that we have going right now. So the weekend weather tomorrow looks to be a nice, cool, partly sunny day. So a mix of clouds and sun. And then Sunday, we should start to get into some more sputtering snowfall. And then we get into a storm, another similar storm to what we just had next week. But the weekend looks to be pretty nice. So a nice cool day tomorrow, then a little bit warmer on Sunday with an increasing chance of snow as the afternoon goes on. And that's the Galena Summit area forecast. So the weather forecast, or the snowfall forecast, excuse me, going into next week, you can see Saturday's dry. Sunday, we have an increasing chance of snowfall during the afternoon and Sunday night. And then it looks like we're probably going to get into another storm scenario on Monday, Tuesday for the bulk of it. And this again is around Galena Summit area where the weather models right now have about 2 feet of new snow falling by Wednesday afternoon. For temperatures, today is the far left there. And then tomorrow you can see a little dip, so cooler temperatures. And then Sunday we warm up back to around where we were today on Friday. And then after that, it warms up for a few days where the low temperatures aren't that low. Those are the blue boxes. And the red boxes, the high temperatures, that's up at almost 9,000 feet. And it's showing, anywhere from 28 to 34 degrees up at 9,000 feet. And then the rest of the week looks to be similar to today, temperature-wise, for the high temperatures. So danger and problems next week. Danger is going to stay elevated. There are more avalanche warnings possible in that Monday to Wednesday timeframe if that storm pans out. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Expect to be dealing with persistent slabs. The persistent slabs means that they tend to linger. You don't just have it go away after a day or two. So we're probably going to be faced with these similar avalanches to what we've seen in the past few days and the coming days and the weekend and the work week up ahead of us. And then we definitely had a big wind slab generation event up in the alpine terrain. We didn't get a look at anywhere up high because roads were closed. But we expect with the winds that we had today blowing from 30 to 60 miles an hour steady, that we're going to have some big stiff wind slabs up in upper elevations. And as we go on through the week with the next storm, we'd expect to see more of the same. and also some storm slabs similar to today as we get into the work week. And if it does get warm enough and rains, we may start to get into some rain-driven wet loose avalanche problems. So please check the forecast each morning at 7 a.m. If you don't already get it emailed to you, you can sign up on any page on our website at the bottom there. You enter your email address and you'll have it avalanche forecast showing up there in your inbox each morning, a little bit after 7 a.m. And please let us know what you're seeing, especially when it's really stormy out. We can't cover that much ground and we can't see that much. Right now, Galena Summit, the pass was closed, so we're effectively flying blind for what was happening on the north side of Galena Summit. So there are a variety of ways to submit observations. If you go to the bottom of every page on our website, you can click the button, you can text, just send us a picture of an avalanche you saw, or send us a picture of when you're out having a blast, high marking and not triggering any avalanches. Probably not advised to do that tomorrow, but a variety of ways you can get us the information that'll help us create better products for you. So have fun out there and make good decisions. Go enjoy the fresh snow and be safe.